Do you ever sit down to rest and immediately feel guilty? Maybe you finally finish work. You tell yourself, relax. But a few minutes later, your mind says, I should be doing something. I'm wasting time. I haven't done enough today. So you check your phone, open your laptop, find one more task. Not because someone asked you to, because slowing down feels uncomfortable, maybe even wrong. Do you struggle enjoying free time? Do you feel guilty resting, even when you're exhausted? Even when your body is tired, but your mind refuses to stop? Maybe people see you as hardworking, driven, responsible. But psychology suggests something important. What if this isn't laziness? What if your nervous system learned long ago that productivity feels safe and rest feels dangerous? If that feels familiar, this video may explain why. Psychology suggests something uncomfortable. People who feel guilty resting are often not lazy. They're adapted. Because constantly feeling like you should be doing more, feeling uncomfortable slowing down, struggling to enjoy free time. Those patterns usually don't appear randomly. Modern psychology shows that childhood experiences can shape how people connect productivity, safety, and self-worth. Children aren't born believing rest must be earned. They learn it. A child grows up around stress, pressure, high expectations, constant responsibility. And slowly, the nervous system begins learning invisible rules. Keep moving. Don't fall behind. Work harder. Being useful keeps you safe. Over time, emotional conditioning turns those rules into automatic patterns. Productivity begins feeling safe. Stillness begins feeling uncomfortable. Some people don't rest because they're ambitious. Some people struggle resting because their nervous system slowing down feels unsafe. Children don't choose survival patterns. Their nervous system learns them. Not because they're weak, not because something is wrong with them, because human brains adapt. And one childhood pattern quietly teaches people that rest feels dangerous more than they realize. Learning that love, approval, or worth comes through achievement. And that lesson can quietly follow people into adulthood. For many people, guilt around resting doesn't start in adulthood. It starts much earlier. Children naturally want connection, approval, safety, love, and psychology suggests children slowly learn what creates those feelings. For some children, praise mostly appears around achievement, good grades, being responsible, helping others, working hard, being productive. Maybe nobody directly said, "You only matter when you succeed." But children don't only learn from words. They learn from patterns. You bring home good grades. People celebrate. You work hard. People notice. You help. People praise you. Over time, something quiet begins forming inside the nervous system. Doing more creates approval. Being useful creates value. Achievement creates safety. And slowly, productivity becomes more than behavior. It becomes identity. Self-worth development research suggests children build beliefs about themselves through repeated experiences. Not one moment, hundreds, thousands, small moments repeated over years. For some people, achievement slowly becomes emotionally connected to worth. Rest begins feeling less valuable. Doing nothing begins feeling uncomfortable. And eventually, the nervous system learns something dangerous. If I'm not producing, am I doing enough? This doesn't always create perfectionism, but it often creates pressure. Pressure to keep moving. Pressure to keep improving. Pressure to stay useful. Even after success. Even after achievement. Even after exhaustion. Because if worth becomes connected to performance, rest can start feeling undeserved. Not peaceful. Not restorative. Earned. And people who grow up carrying this pattern often become adults who struggle slowing down. Not because they lack discipline. Not because they're lazy. Because somewhere long ago, their nervous system quietly learned. Productivity creates safety. Achievement creates value. Rest comes after enough. And the painful part is, for many people, enough never arrives. For some people, guilt around resting isn't only connected to achievement. It's connected to survival. Children are extremely sensitive to emotional environments. Even when adults think they're hiding stress, children notice. financial pressure, overworked parents, emotional exhaustion, constant responsibility. A house that always feels busy, always feels heavy, always feels like something needs fixing. And slowly, the nervous system begins adapting. Maybe you learned early that being helpful reduced stress. Being responsible created approval. Being productive felt safer than slowing down. Some children quietly become highly aware of pressure around them. They notice tired parents, overwhelmed caregivers, emotional tension, and without realizing it, they begin telling themselves invisible rules. Don't be lazy. Keep moving. Help more. Don't make things harder. Psychology suggests nervous systems naturally adapt to environments that feel unpredictable or stressful. For some children, rest slowly begins feeling irresponsible because movement feels safer, doing feels safer, being useful feels safer. And years later, adulthood quietly reflects those same patterns. You sit down to relax and immediately feel uncomfortable. You finish work and start looking for another task. You finally have free time, but instead of peace, you feel pressure. Not because your body needs movement, because your nervous system learned stillness feels unfamiliar. Some nervous systems learn safety through rest. Others quietly learn safety through constant motion. And when that happens, exhaustion doesn't automatically create slowing down. Sometimes exhaustion creates guilt. Because somewhere long ago, your nervous system learned, if I'm moving, I'm doing enough, I'm safe. At first, people often admire it, your discipline, your work ethic, your ability to keep going, to stay productive, to push forward, no matter how tired you feel. People may describe you as driven, responsible, ambitious, the person who always gets things done. And for a long time, you may even feel proud of that, because productivity starts feeling like control, like safety, like proof that you're doing life correctly. But psychology suggests something important. For some people, productivity slowly becomes more than behavior. It becomes emotional regulation. Stress appears, you work. Anxiety appears, you stay busy. Difficult emotions appear, you keep moving. Not because productivity solves everything, because movement temporarily feels safer than slowing down. And eventually, rest can begin feeling uncomfortable, even guilty. You sit down, and your brain immediately starts asking, what should I be doing? Am I wasting time? Have I earned this? You finish one task, your mind finds another. You reach one goal, your brain moves the finish line. You tell yourself, after this project, I'll slow down. After this week, I'll rest. After I do enough. But for many people, enough keeps moving. Psychology research around self-worth suggests that when achievement becomes emotionally connected to identity, rest begins feeling earned instead of human. You stop resting because you need rest. You rest only after proving you deserve it. And eventually, your nervous system never fully turns off, even during free time, even during weekends, even during vacations. Your body sits still, but your mind keeps working, planning, improving, fixing, preparing. Because somewhere deep inside, your nervous system quietly learned, if I'm productive, I'm safe, I'm valuable, I'm enough. And over time, constant productivity stops feeling like ambition and starts feeling like survival. At some point, constant productivity stops creating satisfaction and starts creating exhaustion. Not ordinary tiredness, something deeper, mental fatigue that rest doesn't fully fix. Because when your nervous system learns that slowing down feels unsafe, it can stay active even when your body stops moving. You finally sit down, but your mind keeps going, planning, fixing, improving, preparing, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about unfinished work, thinking about what you should be doing instead. Psychology suggests that some nervous systems become highly activated for long periods of time. Always scanning, always pushing, always preparing, not because you're failing, because your brain learned that staying ahead creates safety. And eventually, your body sits still, but your nervous system doesn't. You struggle enjoying weekends. Vacations don't fully recharge you. Quiet moments feel uncomfortable. Peace feels unfamiliar. Even success starts feeling strangely empty. Because achievement was never the thing your nervous system truly needed. It needed safety. And when safety becomes connected to productivity, rest can begin feeling emotionally unsafe. The painful part is, many people don't recognize exhaustion until their body forces them to notice. Burnout, mental fatigue, emotional numbness, feeling tired all the time, feeling overwhelmed by small things. Feeling like life slowly becomes harder to carry, not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, because human nervous systems were never designed to stay in survival mode forever. And eventually, even high performers reach a moment where pushing harder stops working. Because exhaustion isn't always a discipline problem. Sometimes, it's a nervous system asking for safety. At first, you tell yourself, once I finish this, once I reach that goal, once I do enough, then I'll finally relax. But somehow, that moment never fully arrives. You finish one task, your brain finds another. You reach one goal, the finish line moves. You accomplish something important. Relief appears for a moment, then disappears, and almost immediately, your mind starts asking, what's next? What else should I improve? Why doesn't this feel like enough? Psychology suggests that when self-worth becomes emotionally connected to productivity, achievement can stop feeling rewarding and start feeling necessary. Not because success feels good, because slowing down feels uncomfortable. You don't enjoy accomplishment. You survive through accomplishment. For some people, achievement becomes an attempt to create a feeling that never lasts. Enough. Safe. But nervous systems shaped around performance often struggle holding those feelings for very long. Because if your brain learned, my value comes from doing, then achievement doesn't create peace. It creates temporary relief, and temporary relief always demands more effort, more progress, more proof. The painful part is, from the outside, people may see someone successful, driven, productive, capable. But internally, you may still quietly carry the same question. Am I doing enough? Because when self-worth becomes tied to performance, no amount of achievement feels completely safe. And eventually, you realize something difficult. You aren't chasing success anymore. You're chasing permission to finally feel enough. But this is the part many people never hear. Your guilt around resting wasn't laziness. Your constant productivity wasn't simply ambition. Your difficulty slowing down wasn't weakness. Psychology suggests something more compassionate. You adapted. Your nervous system learned patterns that once helped you feel safe. If achievement created approval, you learned to keep achieving. If being productive created security, you learned to stay productive. If usefulness created value, you learned to keep proving yourself. Not because something was wrong with you, because your brain was doing exactly what human brains are designed to do. Protect, adapt, survive. Children don't consciously choose these patterns. Their nervous system learns them. And those patterns can work incredibly well for a long time. They can create successful people, responsible people, dependable people, hardworking people. But survival patterns that protect children can quietly exhaust adults. The child who learned, keep moving, can become the adult who cannot relax. The child who learned, rest after you've done enough, can become the adult who never feels finished. The child who learned, my value comes from achievement, can become the adult who struggles feeling enough without producing something. But understanding this changes something important. You stop asking, why am I like this? And start asking, what taught my nervous system to feel unsafe slowing down? That question matters, because shame keeps patterns alive. Understanding creates change. And healing doesn't mean becoming less ambitious. It doesn't mean giving up goals. It means learning something your nervous system may have never fully learned. That your worth exists, even when you're resting, even when you're slowing down, even when you're simply being human. Understanding where these patterns come from matters. But awareness alone doesn't create change. Because healing isn't only understanding why, Your nervous system learned these patterns. Healing is teaching it something new. That rest can be safe. That slowing down can be safe. That your value doesn't disappear when productivity stops. And healing often starts smaller than people expect. The first step. Notice productivity guilt language. Pay attention to automatic thoughts that appear when you rest. Maybe your mind says, I'm wasting time. I should be doing something. I haven't earned this yet. I could be doing more. Pause and gently ask yourself, am I actually falling behind? Or do I believe I have to earn rest? That question matters because many people aren't resting too much. They're carrying too much. The second step. Practice intentional rest. Not endless scrolling. Not distracting yourself. Real rest. Sit outside without productivity. Take a walk without goals. Listen to music without multitasking. Allow your nervous system small moments of safety without needing to earn them. For people whose brains learned productivity equals survival, rest may feel uncomfortable at first. That's okay. Healing often feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. The third step. Separate worth from performance. Your value is not measured by constant output. You are not more worthy on productive days. You are not less valuable when you're tired. Human nervous systems need recovery. Not because people are weak, because people are human. Healing doesn't mean becoming less ambitious. It means learning ambition doesn't have to come from fear. And slowly, your nervous system begins learning something new. Rest is not failure. Stillness is not danger. And your worth exists, even when you're doing absolutely nothing. If nobody told you this before, you were never lazy. You were never failing because slowing down felt difficult. And you were never weak for feeling guilty resting. You adapted. Your nervous system learned patterns that once helped you survive. You learned to keep moving, keep achieving, keep proving, keep going. Not because you were broken, because somewhere along the way, your brain learned productivity meant safety. Your brain learned usefulness meant value. Your brain learned rest had to be earned. But human beings were never designed to function endlessly. Psychology reminds us that nervous systems need recovery. Rest isn't something people earn. Rest is something people need. You do not have to finish everything before you deserve peace. You do not have to prove your worth before slowing down. And you do not have to constantly produce something to deserve value. Your worth exists on productive days and difficult days, on days when you're achieving and days when you're struggling. You matter beyond what you accomplish. And maybe healing begins here. Learning that resting doesn't make you irresponsible. Slowing down doesn't make you lazy. And existing, without constantly proving yourself, is enough. Before this video ends, what's the first thought your mind says when you try to rest? I'm wasting time? I should be doing more? I haven't earned it yet? Write it in the comments. And if psychology topics like this help you understand yourself more deeply, subscribe to Lee Psychology. This is a safe place to understand childhood patterns, emotional healing, and the hidden psychology shaping who we become. Because understanding yourself can change what happens next.